Hello, everyone. So, welcome to our session about front-end extra weapons to slay monsters messing with your code. This is the third part of this trilogy, let's say, of sessions about front-end. We already have on the last 2 years sessions about this. The first one 2 years ago, made by me and Rob, and last year made by Ricardo and Paulo. So, let's start. I'm Adriano Palma. I'm a front-end expert at Product League. I've been working almost 10 years with OutSystems. 6 of those years was in Lisbon, in the OutSystems office, and right now I'm working here in the Netherlands with Product League. So I'm responsible mainly for the front-end part here in Product League.
And I'm Ozan Çalı, OutSystems developer at Product League for almost 5 years now. I have a little bit of more experience with OutSystems, but before that I was a .NET developer in Turkey, actually.
So, okay.
Yeah, I loved OutSystems and never looked back.
Okay, so we already have here some characters. So we are going to be some fighters during this presentation. We are going to follow the same approach as the other ones. This will be like kind of a gamified presentation, okay? And today we are going to play the front-end fighter. Okay, let's try to fight some monsters. 3 levels: easy, medium, and then the boss. And yeah, let's see if we can win this battle.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's start. Okay, so we start with, we are still really weak in terms of skills, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and OutSystems. This is our starting point. Let's see if we can get better along with the challenges. Let's load the levels and start with the easy level, okay? So for this one,
yes,
the monster has some attacks, right?
Yeah, this is going to be a text on a mobile app. So we'll see there will be 2 lists side by side fetching similar content. We will see how we can reduce it to 1 and have the same visuals. Then we will see that some layouts are misaligned because there is an extra conflicting div, which doesn't allow us to use flexbox. So we will see how we will fix that. Then we will see how we can very easily change the position of the feedback message that is usually at the top. Mm-hmm. Then we'll see how we can load different images for different screen sizes. And finally, I'll talk a little bit about the font notch at the top, the status bar, and how OutSystems handles it.
Can we do to use some things from the OutSystems UI to help us, right?
Exactly, yeah. Right, let's start.
Let's fight.
So here we will have a list with 10 records, and the first 5 on the left side, remaining on the right side. This is a list for the win counts of our characters. The usual way to achieve a 2-column view in a list is to give 6-column widths to each list item. But then we see that the ordering is not as we want. Mm-hmm. So to fix this, we can use 2 very similar lists side by side. The left list would get the first 5 records. The right list would get the remaining 5. But obviously, this is not the best way to do it. It's like extra calls to the database. We can actually achieve the layout we want, the visuals we want, with custom tags. We can give the list an OL tag, ordered list, and its items and li tag. This way, we can start using CSS specific for ordered lists. For example, we can give it a column count. So we want to have 2 columns. We can give it a specific gap. We can also give some styling. And when we check how it looks, we see that the ordering is actually provided by CSS itself with the marker pseudo class. We didn't have to pass the order value down to the block. And we can also easily change the column count according to our needs. It's just a simple change with CSS.
So the HTML element OL automatically adds the marker with the order, right?
Correct, yeah.
Perfect.
The next attack, we want to make the list more beautiful. So I want to align the points to the right side. Again, we can use column widths, 6 for the text, 4 for the points. But this takes away the flexibility, right? What if we want to add a new element into the list item? We would have to readjust them. To make it more flexible, well, it looks like, I mean, we want this, but it's not flexible.
So we need to do it in another way.
So we can use flexbox to make it more flexible. Actually, we give the list item display flex. It becomes a flex container. Then we give some spacing so that the children of this flex container has a certain spacing. But we see that it's not applied, no. Because there's an extra div in the middle between the flex container and its children. As a sanity check, when I move them out of that extra div, we see that it works. So we need to tell the browser somehow to ignore that extra div in the middle.
So we want the div there? We don't want to remove it from the
I don't want to remove the div. I need it for something. So I just want to tell the browser to ignore it. There's a one-liner for that, actually, which is display contents. So this basically tells that the fighter class, the direct div children of the fighter class will be ignored. So the spacing of the container will go directly to the children of that extra div. And if we publish and refresh and see if it's applied correctly, yeah, this time it's good.
Nice. Really
this
good.
purple thing in the developer tools is actually, it shows us its flex container.
Yeah, you can play around with the several properties from
Yeah, if I want to change the spacing. Okay, next attack. We built a very simple dashboard just to add some wins to the characters. The communication here is provided by server-sent events, but that's another story. I actually want to talk about the feedback message at the top.
We need to change the
Yeah,
way.
I want to change the location of it, and I want it to appear slowly from left to the middle.
At the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom. We can do this with pure CSS, actually. So I just changed the main wrapper class. I unset the top position. I give it a button position. Then I provide it with an animation. Then I define the animation. So I define the starting and ending point of the animation and how it will move towards between these points.
Okay, so I'm just using the transform translate to change the position.
Yeah, just transform, translate, usual CSS stuff.
And it's already really different, and it has a little like custom
already
touch,
a better
right?
user experience, I guess. Yeah. Okay, now I want to talk about the image at the top. It's responsive enough. It's good. But when we check the file size of it, we will see that it's huge in terms of HTML, at least. Well, we would like to load different images, maybe, for different screen sizes. So we can do this by building our own picture HTML element. So instead of using the out-of-the-box OutSystems image element, we built the picture element. So we give multiple sources in it, and we give media queries to these sources, and different images for each source, of course. This way, we tell the browser to load another source if the screen size changes to, if it exceeds the threshold that we defined with the media queries.
So I can use this to load a lighter image in a low-end device to
Exactly.
actually have a better performance.
The idea is to load the same image, but with different resolutions, actually, with different sizes. And finally, just a little information about the font notch at the top. I mean, all mobile apps has that. And OutSystems actually handles it quite nicely. It has a CSS variable, safe area, OS safe area, and it fills its value with a user agent value that is coming from the browser of the device. And it fetches that value with the environment CSS function. It's just a value, so we can change it according to our needs if we want an extra space at the top for some reason.
So it's really useful to position elements on the screen when we have certain native device elements there, so we can position elements.
Yeah, exactly.
We can use those variables.
Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. What do you think?
Well, I think we slayed some monsters. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, we won.
Right.
First one done. Yeah. Okay, so we actually got new skills. We are getting better. We are getting there. And let's just recap what we did. So first, we used the HTML, OL, and LI elements to help us create an ordered list of, for the scoreboard. Then we actually use the CSS rule display contents to create like or almost have a transparent or invisible div, and that made the flexbox work even when we don't have direct children on that parent div, right?
Yeah, kudos to Antonio Carvalho for
Antonio
this.
Carvalho,
He has a very nice article about this.
And for the feedback message, we created by using CSS a different animation, completely different, using keyframes and using the transform translate just to change the position and the animation of the feedback message. Also, we use the picture HTML element to also use different sources for different device sizes, let's say. Yes. And this allows us to load different types of images, heavy or lighter, according to the device type that you are using. Also, just to mention that we have on OutSystems UI really useful CSS variables like the area safe top that help us manipulate the content and avoid certain native elements from the devices. Okay. So on to the next level. Now we are going to the medium level, and this one is about an application. We have the gaming station application, and we need to make some improvements here. So the first attack that we have here is the text that is flickering. So when we load the application, we see that we have some flickering of the text. We need to fix that. Then the responsive content of the application is not really good. We need to hide some elements and change others. So the counter should be on top of the scrollable list, and we need to change the size of the title and hide the subtitle of the application. The next one is related with the items. The item that is on the center of the scrollable area, we want to scale out that element with an animation. So we want to give some focus on that element in the middle of the list. Then we have a missing animation on the counter, and actually the counter is not working. So when we try to add, in this case, a hero to our team, we should gain experience, and the number of heroes in our team should increase. That is not working.
This counter is in another block, right?
Yeah, so we have the counters in a different block.
Okay.
With the logic to add and remove is there, so probably we need to use that logic on the parent level. Yeah. Let's see how we can do that. And the last one is the submenus. So we can actually open multiple submenus at once, and we don't want that. We want to close everything when we have just when we open a submenu. So we will have only one submenu open at once. So for this, we need to extend the component, probably. That one will be tricky. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's start. The first one, as I told you, is related with the text that is flickering when we load the application. This is related with how we are loading the fonts. We are loading them on the theme, and the theme is loaded after a lot of files have been loaded into the app. To solve this, we are going to use JavaScript to load our fonts. First of all, we create a variable with the URL for our fonts. Then we create a font face for each one of them, and we use a promise to load those files. And then, after the files are loaded, we add the fonts to the document. By doing this, we can actually use this JavaScript as a required script of the main module. And as soon as we do this, this file will be one of the first files that the application will load. So at the start of the loading of the application, we will have the fonts, our custom fonts, available on the document. As you can see, this is the waterfall with timeline for the fonts, the load of the fonts using the theme. And now, as you can see, the first two files are the fonts that we just loaded via JavaScript. So at the start of the load of the application. So I think that one is done. Let's see. No flickering. All good. Nice. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Now we need to solve some issues related with the responsiveness of our application. We need to change the position of the counter to the top of the list, and we also need to change the font size of the title and hide the subtitle. We already have on the content of this screen some elements being hidden according to a condition that is using a client variable called isPhone. So we have a client variable controlling the device type that we are using, so the isPhone, that basically hides some content and adds specific CSS classes for some elements. For instance, the counters will have the flexbox property to move them to the top of the list, and here we are changing the heading type of the title of the application by using these variables. We have also variables for desktop and tablet on our client variables. So to do this, to control this content, we will use a block, and on the initialize, we will use this code that defines media queries, and for the match media method from the window, and we do this by checking. So we are going to define the device type that we are using by checking the flag matches from each media type. So by doing this, we check if it matches the media query, and then we assign the specific class, and we also add an event listener for the change of this flag. So whenever the flag value changes, we are going to also execute an action. So the device, the set device class will, according to the name of the device that you are passing as an input, change the class on the body of the HTML according to it. So phone, tablet, or desktop. We remember that the device name is sent by the JavaScript that we just defined, and we then send an event to the upper level with the device type. The set device, desktop, phone, or tablet just checks the matches flag and then assigns the correct value for the class. And now we just need to use this block inside of our layout. So we are going to use it here, and we are going also to handle the event. And when we do this, we catch the device type on that handler, and we call another action that, according to the device type via JavaScript, will also call more logic that will add the value to the client variables that we have defined on the module. So here we are basically saying that according to the device type, we are going to assign the correct value to our client variables.
And you handle it in layout level, right?
Exactly. So it's across
for
the
all
whole
the screens.
application. And by doing this, we can control in real time the responsiveness of our application by using client variables.
No need to
controlling
refresh
HTML.
the screen to see the effect.
Not at all. And everything is changing, so positioning, the elements are being removed from the HTML, all in real-time responsiveness, okay?
Nice.
The next one, we need to highlight the element in the middle of the scrollable area. And for this, we are going to use an intersection observer, okay?
Okay.
So we have our list of elements, and we need to use the intersection observer, we need to understand when all the elements are loaded. For that, we added a hidden div at the last element of the list, and we added the component didMount React method there to that div. So when that div is mounted into the HTML, we know that all the elements before it were also loaded. So we can actually implement our JavaScript with intersection observer. That's exactly what we do here. We first select our scrollable area, so the area with an image and the list. Then we select all the elements inside of our list, and we create an intersection observer for each one of them with a specific configuration that tells us that we define an area in the middle of that scrollable area that can be intersected. Whenever there's an intersection from an item to that area that we just defined, we are going to run this handler that adds a class active to that item that just intersected the area that we just defined.
You just defined 20 pixels for it.
Yeah,
right?
so in the middle of the scrollable area. Then we actually just need to define our CSS. So by default, we are going to say that all the list items have a scale of 0.8, and the item that has the active class will just have the normal scale. So it's a normal
so
size.
you don't change the font size, you just scale it up or down.
Exactly. So this is just via CSS. By scaling them down, we have all the elements inside of the list smaller, and the one that is intersecting a little bit bigger. And this is what we got from doing that. So whenever we scroll, the element that is in the middle will have a highlighted look and feel. The next one, so yeah, the buttons are not working. I'm trying to add and remove heroes to our team, and nothing happens. So we have our add remove hero client action at the screen level, and then we have the logic to add and remove heroes from our team in the block level. So we need to call this at the parent level, at the screen level, and to do that, we will use an event. First of all, let's check our counters. So we have also an expression here with a specific class, and by default, this is hidden. And we need to animate this with the value of experience that we are adding to the team. Just for the sake of UI and a good user experience, we want to show that with an animation that we added a specific number of experience to our team. So first of all, we are going to expose the client actions on the block to the parent level. By what I mean is we are going to send a reference of each action to the parent level, so the parent level can call those actions with no issue at all. So on the onReady, we define a JavaScript object variable that is assigned to the reference of our actions, the decrease and the increase. And then, using an event, we are going to trigger those JavaScript object variables to the parent. So these variables, they have a reference to the actions that we need to execute to increase and decrease the number of heroes that we have on our team. So what we are missing now on the screen level is to handle the events, to handle that event, assign to JavaScript objects at the parent at the screen level, the ones that just the event just send. By doing this, we have at the screen level a reference to the actions that were on the block or that are on the block level, and on our add and remove client action, we just need to use a JavaScript node to call those references, those actions, basically, using a reference. It's exactly what we are going to do here. So we are sending the JavaScript object, and we execute the action and send the hero ID there. So to increase, we actually do the same, but we also send the experience that we just added. It's the same logic, so we send the JavaScript object here to the JavaScript node. We execute the action and send as input the hero ID and the experience. So let's publish and see if this works. All this
sure it's
theory.
I trust in you.
In practice, if okay, let's test.
Okay.
Cool. So it looks like it's working.
So you change something in the child block from the main
parent
screen.
level.
Yeah.
Exactly. Without using the unpermitted change.
Yes, without using it.
So what we need to do now is just add the animation. We had that class that we just had on the expression with the added experience, and now we are adding here the CSS for the fade score. We just use a simple animation with keyframes that changes the opacity. So by default, that experience has 0, and we then change the opacity of it and the position. So we basically need to add the class that triggers the animation, but then we need to remove it after the animation ends. That's what
Otherwise it stays there forever, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I was showing that. So the JavaScript nodes basically uses a set timeout with the same amount of time of the animation to then remove the class. So we execute the animation, and then after that time, we remove the class, and this is the result. So basically, we trigger the animation. You see the counter there with the experience that we just added, and then we remove, and it stops. Last one. This one is tricky. So we need to open just one submenu and close everything that we had open. To do this, we are going to extend the submenu pattern. So I already have here prepared the JavaScript that we are going to use. We basically are going to create our own PL submenu there and our own custom initialize. So we are going to override normal submenu API initialize with our own custom initialize that basically gets the submenu, the default one, and then using on our constructor, it will save the default submenu, and then in build time it will basically finish the build from the default submenu, and then it will add an extra piece of code that helps us close the other submenus. Yeah. So we are going to add an event listener to the click of the header of the submenu that will run a function called close all. So this close all function basically will check all the submenus that we have on the nav element, and it will close them all besides the one that we just clicked. Okay, so when we click, we are going to close everything, but we are going to leave our own our submenu that we just clicked.
Because we know
open.
the idea of it already, so
exactly.
They understand.
So now we just need to assign as a required script of the menu side block, that is the block that we have with all the submenus. We need to set it as a required script. In this case, we are in ODC, so it works like this, not on the layout. And this is the result. So when we click on a submenu, the other one will close. I think that was the goal, right?
That's very cool.
Yeah, this one was harder, but nice.
We
won. Another one. Okay, so let's see how we are in terms of skills.
You earned a lot of JavaScript skills.
Getting better.
Yeah.
Getting better.
Okay, so let's recap how we won this monster. Well, first of all, you wanted to load your own font family before the others so that we don't get flickering. And you did it with a piece of JavaScript code. You actually used promises to asynchronously to wait for it to load first, and then you appended it to the HTML so that it was the first font family that was loaded. Then we set different device types to different client actions as client variables, sorry. And this way, you used match media JavaScript function to do this, to understand the sizes of the screens. And this way, we can manipulate the HTML in real time. So when the screen size changes, you manipulate the HTML. Then we wanted to understand which list item in a list is in the middle, in a certain place, in a scrollable area. To understand it, we have to put intersection observers to each of these list items. But to be able to do that in reactive, we need to understand if the last item of the list is loaded or not. And to understand that, we use component did mount. It's a React method. And yeah, when we did these, we were able to understand the list item that is in the middle, and you changed its size with the scale option instead of changing the font size value. That was also cool. I think my favorite here is to be able to use the client actions of blocks in the screen level. And yeah, you were able to do it by passing the client action to a variable that is of object type. And then we were able to use it in the parent scope. And finally, you extended the submenu pattern of our systems that this is already available to us.
Yeah. So there's kudos to Bernardo Cardoso that had a presentation about this last year in the conference. So check it out. Good information.
Yeah. So you basically loop through all the menus, and if it's the menu that we just clicked, you ignored it and you closed all the others.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Good.
Okay.
So we got to the fight to fight the boss. Right?
Yes.
Let's see how this goes. So for the boss level, so this one is related with a mobile application that needs improvements. Okay. So we have some animations that we want to add to the images. So one on the logo of the splash screen. When we go to the home page, we need to zoom out or scale out the logo image, so it currently is not doing anything. And then we also want the same for the navigation using this the click on the images of each article. So we are going to navigate from an article list to the article details when we do this, we want to scale out the image. Then we actually need to work on the native error screen of the application. So this is the default error screen from OutSystems, and we need to add custom content to it, like a phone number, for instance, for the customer support.
According to our corporate branding.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's see how can we do this. So let's fight. Okay, first of all, we need to add the animation to the logo screen. As we saw here, it's doing nothing, and also to the images here. So basically, we are going to use CSS actually to create the animation, and JavaScript to also then remove the class that adds the animation. Yeah. So on our splash screen, we already have here some content being also controlled. The visibility of that content is being controlled by a specific variable. Like the title and the loading bar will be hidden when we have these animating variable as true. And we created also a class client action with this code that receives an ID of an element, and then it basically adds the scale-up center class to that element. So we need to use this on our loading process completed. First of all, the CSS. So this is the animation that we will use. The scale. We are using keyframes with the scale-up center animation. And now on load complete, we are going to use the client action that we just defined. So when we have our load complete, we are going to use the client action and pass the ID of the logo to add the class with the animation. And then instead of redirecting the user right away to the home page, we are going to use a JavaScript node that will remove the CSS class after the time of the animation, that in this case was 400 milliseconds. And only after that, it will call the redirect user. We are going to also assign his animation variable to true to hide the content that we have being controlled by that. And yeah, on the articles list is basically the same. So whenever we click on the image, we are going to run a client action on click image with the ID of the image. And instead of going to the article right away, we are going to do the same. But first, let's see if it works. Okay, perfect. Yeah, nice. That's exactly what we wanted. Like
definitely improves the UX.
Yeah. It's completely different and exactly what we wanted. So let's do the same for the articles. We are going to call our client action, sending the ID of the image to there. So right now we are adding the class that gives the animation. And now we are going to remove this go to article detail. And we are going to add, instead of it, a JavaScript node with the set timeout, with the same time of the animation. And after that time, we are going to call the go to article detail.
So if you don't use set timeout, it just appears and we are moved.
It just redirects right away.
We wouldn't see the animation.
We are calling the client action there. So we need to wait for the animation and then redirect the user for the page, the details page. Let's see if this works. Yeah. So it's completely different. The experience is completely different. It's working fine. We see a cool animation. And now we just need to customize the error screen. So this is the error screen that we have currently. We have the page that is the underscore error.html, the default error screen from OutSystems. And I actually had I made some research, and I found out that OutSystems allow us to customize the error screen by using a JSON configuration. So you can just define something there, content there, using this JSON. And we can also add custom CSS to it to change according to our branding guidelines, right?
Can we use HTML tags as well?
Yes, so that's exactly the point. So the documentation doesn't mention it, but we can actually use HTML there instead of just text, pure text. What I did here was to add the HTML of my own custom error page along with custom CSS. And the HTML has actually a link for the phone number to call the customer support. And we are also using actually an image using base64 on the CSS that allow us to basically have a completely different screen.
You can even pass images with base64.
Exactly. And that allows us to actually customize completely the error screen that you just saw. It was a little bit boring, let's say. And by doing this, just using a simple JSON configuration with HTML, you allow the user to have a completely different experience when an error occurs. So we just need to add that to the extensibility configurations, publish the application, and now let's test it. So let's go again to our application, then click on the last article to trigger the error page, and here we go.
Voila.
Completely different error page. So now we have a phone number, a button to refresh the page, and yeah, it's completely different.
Looks a lot better, I guess.
A lot better. What do you think?
I think he's gone. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Okay, let's pack. Let's go. Okay, first let me recap. Well, you created again, you used again scale out instead of changing different sizes. You used keyframes for that. It improved the user experience a lot. This monster was actually attacking the UX a lot for some reason. So yeah, then you changed the error screen, the default error screen of all systems by using a custom JSON in the extensibility configuration of the mobile app. And it actually allows us to use CSS and HTML tags. So we don't have to use just text. We can give the styling we want.
Exactly.
And that was very cool.
Yeah. So I think that's, yeah, the guy is there laying on the floor.
Yeah.
What?
I think he's gone.
What? Something's happening, man.
Okay.
What? Zombie round. Ah.
What went wrong?
Came back from the dead, man.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a classic QA ticket that just is refused.
I saw another screen for 1
so
second.
Not, yeah, exactly. So it's not completely fine. We just see, for some instance, the default text from the default error screen. So we need to remove that and have really a smooth transition between the normal app and the error screen.
Yeah.
For that, yeah, I think we need to build a custom Cordova plugin.
So the extensibility configuration will not be enough.
Yeah. So let's fight.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, let's remove the JSON configuration from the extensibility configuration for our application. And yeah, we are going to basically create a custom Cordova plugin that changes the error page in build time using some hooks, okay?
Okay.
So we are going to add on our resources folder the HTML of our custom error page that, as you can see, it's this one. So exactly the same that we had on the JSON configuration. It's here. The CSS is the custom CSS that we just added, the HTML the same. And now we are going to create our plugin using Plugman. There's a lot of documentation out there on how to do this. So kudos also to Paul Sulipa that created some articles, cool articles about this. So we are going to create our OS plugin. In this case, only for Android. iOS is the same approach, but for testing purpose, we created only for Android. Now we are going to create the package. And after doing that, we are going to have our folders with all the default files from the plugin, the default ones, that we need to customize, use it to customize the build of our application and change in build time the error screen by our own custom error screen. So this is the files that were generated for our plugin. We are going to use this in a Git repository. So basically what you saw there is here in this Git repository. The package is here. And in the plugin XML, I've made some changes and I added 2 hooks. So the before plugin install and the after prepare. The after prepare will call the boss plugin JavaScript, and the other one will call the install dependency, because we have some dependencies that we need to install to run our code. The boss plugin JavaScript is the one that will do the magic. Basically, we are going to use the file system library, the path, and the Shiryu. Shiryu is the one that we need to install as a dependency in this external library. Basically what we are going to do is define the path for our custom HTML and for the default error page from OutSystem, so the www, the folder for the resources, on the root and on the Android folder. We then define the file path for our custom error HTML that we have on the resources of the app. Then what we are going to do is call this replace HTML content function that receives those file paths and a CSS selector that we will use with Shiryu. So we are going to read the files from those paths, so our custom error HTML and the default one. Then we are going to use Shiryu to load them into a variable that we can use to basically create a selector, or use it as an HTML selector. So first of all, we remove the default script that the default error page has there. We don't need that. And then we are going to append to according to a selector, our own custom error page. The selector is the error screen wrapper, so that the default error page has an HTML element with that ID. We're going to use that and replace the content inside of it with the content from our custom error page. Then we are going to just write the file again to the same path that the default has. So by doing this, we are going to replace something that was default by our own custom HTML that we have on the resources of the module. The install dependencies JavaScript is basically used to run the npm install of the Shiryu library, an external library. We don't have it by default, so we needed to install it.
So you can load external libraries into your plugin.
Exactly, exactly. And we are going to use it to select the element that we need to replace then the HTML.
Yeah.
So after doing this, we just need to go to our extensibility configurations and add the URL for our plugin. Then publish, build the app, and pray that it works.
Yeah. Okay, we need to wait for the build because you changed the extensibility configuration.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's hope this is fast. Let's not wait. It's done. So now we need to test. Let's go to the browser again. This time we are going to use an actual device to have a real use case. This is my device. Let's navigate through the app and go to the error screen again to understand if this works. Here we go.
I didn't see any flickering.
No flickering at all. We are seeing the same screen. So this is the same HTML that we were using, the same CSS, exactly the same thing that we just showed before with a script to reload the page. So whenever you click on the button, we are going to reload the application. And as we can see, just for the sake of checking it, it's exactly the same that we just show here. And we have it on our resources folder of the app. So I think it worked. Actually, let's try to test again to see if it's actually really
Always
smooth.
Double check.
And so scroll to the last one. Yeah, no text at all.
Yeah,
so this
I
time,
think it's fine. Yeah.
I think that's it. Let's see. Okay.
Goodbye, zombie.
That's it. It's done.
Okay, let's recap quickly what you did. You basically had your own custom error HTML you built outside of OutSystems actually, and you want to replace it with the default error HTML of OutSystems.
Yeah.
For this, you created a Cordova plugin, and you used Plugman to create it. It was a very effective way, so you didn't have to deal with all the folder structure and the files inside it. It created it for you. Then you uploaded it to a Git repository, and you used the URL to that repository in the extensibility configuration.
Yep.
Then in the configuration file of the plugin, you use two hooks. So first one is before plugin install, you needed to install an extra dependency, an external dependency, which is called Cheerio. Cheerio helped us to be able to select the HTML selectors that we need to replace.
Mm-hmm.
And you also wanted to run a JavaScript file after, in the after prepare hook,
Mm-hmm.
which does the reading of both files. You use the FS library. I think file system library. And then you selected the error screen wrapper div from the default error HTML and replaced it with the content of your custom error HTML file.
Yeah.
It was very clever.
Okay. I think it's done. We defeated all the monsters.
Yes, I think we are done.
Yes.
So the trilogy is over.
Yeah, but there's always.
Front-end challenges are never over. There's always more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it.